Okay, basically what we do is we do mid-air haptic feedback. So we have a small array of ultrasound transducers, and you basically carefully control the delay from each speaker, essentially, so that the sound waves arrive at your hand at the same time. What that does is basically creates a small indentation on your hand that you can actually feel. So at that point, you can turn it on and off, you can move it around, and you can kind of create lots of different feelings in mid-air. So one of the big applications for this technology essentially is for adding the sense of touch to gesture control to virtual reality. So gesture control already exists. A lot of car manufacturers, for example, have already done it, where you can control your stereo volume, that kind of thing, without looking away from the road. One of the problems is that it's very difficult to tell when you're actually doing something. So what our technology does is it adds that sense of positive touch. So you can hold your hand out, you can feel a buzzing or a movement or a shape in midair that tells you what it is you're going to control, and you can make a gesture with your hand and get a sense of feedback. Maybe something will speed up or slow down, or something will happen to tell you that you've had some positive control over the vehicle. It's one of our big applications. One of the other things we're looking into at the moment quite a lot is digital signage. So we had a trade show quite recently actually where we had these movie posters, interactive movie posters. You combine gesture control with our haptic technology and a large display screen. So potentially you're advertising a new movie, you could go up and have a little mini game where you can hold your hand out, you can feel the sensations on your hand, you can make some movements to control a little mini game and kind of basically have a more interactive experience with a poster, and kind of you get a really nice increase in user engagement with the advertisement, which is quite nice. Basically, when I started at Ultrahaptics, I was tasked with basically creating a new development kit, so a new piece of hardware that would demonstrate our technology. We had been using a platform that had been around for quite a few years that was requiring some updating, and one of the biggest challenges we have is basically we have at the moment mostly 256 individual transducers, and these are essentially small ultrasonic speakers. You have to control every single one individually, so every channel needs individual control over timing and amplitude. So that's quite a difficult problem to solve. It's not a very common thing, having the requirement of driving that many individual channels. So you can look at microcontrollers, you can look at FPGAs, you can look at a lot of different solutions to achieve that. What I basically ended up doing was I moved our algorithms, which is what actually calculate the time delays for the transducers to create your haptic sensation. I helped to port those from sort of a large desktop computer to an embedded device. So I basically ported those to a microcontroller, and all of our sort of output controls for actually how we actually drive the transducers themselves, we moved to an FPGA. So I basically came up with the architecture and the ideas behind that and sort of saw it through to implementation and completion, and we actually sell those dev kits. So we launched that product CES last year. We sold like hundreds of those units now, business to business. People will buy this and use it to evaluate the technology and then see if they can find their own applications for it long term, essentially. It's interesting. I think the maker movement and Raspberry Pi and Arduino and stuff definitely helps with this. I mean, people wanting to get involved and make things. I think there's still kind of almost a barrier to it from the point of view people are regarding it as being nerdy or kind of it almost has a negative stigma, like, oh, if you're doing this, you're not like one of the normal kids, and people are often afraid of not being normal, which is kind of a shame. I mean, the stuff is really, really interesting, and it's really fascinating to get involved with it. I think often that is one of the things, is it's just a general level people are afraid to, because they don't want to seem like they're doing weird things or not really fitting in a little bit.